Thank you, Jose. We're going to see a lot of maps from now on. Our next speaker is Oscar Martinez from gvSIG. He's going to talk about a very interesting module, scripting, which will allow users to develop their own functionalities. Hello. Let me tell you what scripting is all about. But please don't be scared. What is the scripting module? It is a programming module already embedded into gvSIG. When you install versions as from 2.x, you can just open it by double-clicking on the icon. Right, what this is all about? Even though gvSIG has a lot of tools, there is not a limit. The sky is the limit. We can always create our own tools in a very easy way. I'm not talking about Java programming, which is only for the very, very expert, but about something which is a lot more simple. Right, the objective of the module is to give access to all tools on gvSIG and to create new ones. The possibilities are huge in this respect when we work, and if you're working on a project and you need a geo process that does not exist, you can always create it. It is very easy to access the tool. Once the scripts are created, you just open them by double clicking on them. So you can be working on your project, just double click on the geo process and it will open. And your tasks can be made automatic. If you create very long scripts for a very repetitive task, you can just do this and save a huge amount of time. Besides, it is a client-oriented or a user-oriented functionality because it uses a simple language, a more simple language, Python. So basically, this is a script on the screen. A script is a code block with a mission, with a name. And these are its features. It allows you to work with your data. Any data you have on gvSIG, you can work with them. There are several libraries to handle tables, vectorial layers, geometries, rasters. And the good thing about it is the fact that you can combine them all. You can work with tables. You already have tables with different views, rasters with totally different views. You know, there's no limit whatsoever. And as I said, the language used is Python, for those of us who are not very good at programming, but as a matter of fact, it uses Jython on Java. Because, well, we know gvSIG works with Java. This means that developers can import all gvSIG libraries, all Java libraries on gvSIG. Right, the main tools. 3 tools. Jython console, or this console is for developers. It allows you to interact with your project directly. Composer scripting, which will be used by you to a great extent, I reckon. It allows you to do your own code or source. It allows you to store your scripts, to launch them. Basically, you'll be doing most of your work here. There are 2 types of scripts. One is simply a code line, as I showed you before, but this module also allows you to create scripts with windows. You can create gvSIG windows or windows on gvSIG with boxes and anything you want to be able to modify your script or to display data. Now, scripting launcher. Once you have all your scripts created, you can work with your view And you could place scripting launcher on the right hand side, for instance, and just by double clicking on it, it will be ready. Let me show you some examples on the left hand side at the top of the screen. In fact, I remember someone asking me for a script which could be a tiny little window, and when he was given the identification code, simply by entering the code, a zoom could be done on that particular geometry straight away. It is something which is very, very simple. It only took a tiny text box. As you can see on the right hand side, we see a more complicated script for spatial data analysis. Here, dots were created for each area to analyze distances from certain areas, in this case a hospital or several hospitals. There were 4 of them, 4 hospitals. So you can apply this to meet your needs. And a totally different example, which is very trendy nowadays, exporting your data to a website. In this case, it's for the leaflet library. It's a simple library, and this script, you had to select the entities to be exported. You launched the script, and an HTML was created automatically with your data, and by opening it, you could either post it or view it differently. All this was developed thanks to the work done by the association and the Google Summer of Code applied to the scripting module. One of the problems with the scripting module was as follows. If you wanted to do a simple buffer, you had to program it all completely, which made no sense because the buffer is one more geoprocess on gvSIG. So it's important to give access to these geoprocesses from the scripting module. By doing this, the module power was enhanced, was boosted to a great extent. With JGrass, I suppose access will be gained from Python as well. The computing power was absolutely colossal, and it facilitated the use of existing tools. This is an example of how it is used. The first line. On the first line, we create the function random vector to create a new layer with random geometries. Count is 10 and type is 0 for polygons. So we would be creating a polygon layer just with one line. Line number 2, the same is done, but this time is a type 2. You don't need to enter the name of the parameters if you don't want to. The same layer is stored or saved on variable v1, and that variable, you can continue using it on your script. So in the second line, we're using perturbate point layers to move the points, to move the dots, and the parameter is layer b1, which is the layer we created in the previous step. As you can see with this, we can create scripts containing hundreds of lines like these ones, adapting everything to our needs. We can create test scripts. In this particular case is for the area of study. It was all about the steps to be taken by people to create a study area, starting with 2 polygon layers. What was the advantage here? Well, in the original manual, this was explained in 20 pages in a PDF file. Launch this process, do this, do that. And there was a step which was for 5 layers of random points to be arranged. And you could easily see the layers in which the dots were more distanced. So the Python thing comes in handy here. With Python, we wouldn't be limited to creating 3 layers and choosing one of them out of the blue. In a way, you could choose the most convenient layer in a more reliable way. So this would be done once programmed. Besides, other tools have been developed, and remove fill copy layer would be comparable to a toolkit. You write expressions down or phrases down, and you can save a lot from the line. And current raster is new, which allows you to access your own rasters and use them in the geoprocesses on the library. Another interesting tool, the exportations of models into script. By a simple code line, you can do this conversion into script. If you have a project or a case which includes some subjective processes in the project, you could introduce intermediate steps with your scripts. And maybe in the future, we could introduce scripts within the module or into the module. We have recently launched an online MOOC course, a MOOC course, about an introduction to scripting on gvSIG 2.1. You don't need to be expert in programming. All the examples included in the course are intended to be very, very intuitive for users. More than 530 students have already signed in. All the contents in this course are totally free of charge. We are including new manuals and audiovisual contents. The manuals are very focused on users without programming knowledge for them to improve, but for developers there are also dedicated developer manuals. In the course, I go through things step by step, and I give an explanation on gvSIG scripting only. If after completing the course you want to continue learning, you can do other training courses. It includes, as I said, audiovisual contents in which I explain how the module works, each specific function, how these functions work. So you'll be surprised to see that with simple steps you can modify your work very, very easily. I'm always there, available on the forum, answering your doubts or your queries, and some Python programming extras are also included. Those completing the course will be given a certificate. The course is worth 30 credits, and you get the certificate and the credit validation with a 40 euro fee. I also give a final assignment. In the course, you have to do your own scripting, and all these new scripts we will try to upload on the new repository, a script repository. In fact, you can already access it and download any public scripts. The good thing about scripts is the fact that they don't require any additional installation. You may be working and using the email. If you ask me for a piece of code, I can send it over the email, and you just need to copy and paste it. So it makes things so much easier. You forget about the plugins, and this is different. As I was saying, you can still sign up. The registration period is still open. The deadline is December the 7th, and the exercises, the final exercises, can be submitted until December the 31st. Let me add that tomorrow we will have a 2-hour workshop at 12, and you're all invited. Thank you.